expert with Constant Contact, and today we're going to be walking you through Constant Contact, getting you started with email marketing. So if you're interested in starting with email marketing, or if you've secured an account but you need a little refresher or some suggestions on how to proceed, this guided demonstration is for you. So just a little bit about myself before we get started. My name is Lori Necto. As mentioned, I have my own business, eMotivate Marketing and Design, and I'm an authorized local expert with Constant Contact, as mentioned. I travel around and talk to small businesses throughout my region, which is in Ontario, Canada, about Constant Contact, about social media marketing, digital marketing, content marketing, etc. So, but as mentioned, today we're going to be talking about email marketing and putting together an email campaign. So without further ado, let's switch over here, shall we? So when you go to constantcontact.com, you'll see a screen similar to this. And what you want to do, if you've started your own trial account, or if you have your own account, then you're going to simply go up to the top right corner here and log in. If you haven't secured an account yet, I'll give you details at the end about how you can get started with your own free 60-day trial account to get you going with email marketing. So from here, you're just going to log in using the information that you inputted when you set up your account. And once successful, you're going to come to a dashboard, home screen that looks something like this. And what we want to do is create a new campaign. So we'll use this yellow Create button, and we're going to send an email. From here, we can actually choose from a wide range of templates that are all mobile friendly. So that's critical in this era, is mobile friendliness, because more people, statistically speaking, are going to be viewing your emails from a mobile device than a desktop device. So you want to make sure that your emails, as well as anything else that you put online, renders nicely and legibly for mobile viewing. So we can take a look down through the templates that are available to us, and I'm actually going to be putting together a fun little campaign for a local craft brewery. So I like the look of this template here, the restaurant menu update. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter so much what the template says it's intended for, what it's named. You can choose anything based on a color scheme or a layout. Layout is a good idea to choose, a good criteria to use, because everything can be modified in terms of the color scheme. So, but I like the layout of this. It's nice and clean and simple, and it is intended for a restaurant, so it'll probably have all the features that I need for the craft brewery email. So when we come into the editor for the email template, it's going to look something like this. And just to let you know, when you do get started with Constant Contact, chances are pretty good if you start with the link that I give you. When you're ready to proceed with Constant Contact, I can help design for you a custom template, so you won't have to redesign a template every time you want to send an email. But for the purposes of this webinar, let's pretend like we're starting from scratch. So the first thing you want to do when you come to the editor is rename your campaign. By default, it's going to say campaign created and the date and time. And this naming mechanism here is strictly for your reference, so that when you enter into your dashboard, you can very quickly find the campaign that you want to see. Your audience will not see this name, but we'll call this Black Swan Brewing Co. template. And just hit enter when you're done. So as you can see, there's a couple different parts to the editor here. On the left-hand side, you see a menu here area where you can change the colors and fonts. And this is kind of a global editor for your the overall look and feel of your template or your email campaign. So it's best to start with the global colors instead of going into each individual block and editing the colors individually there. This is going to help you better control the overall look and feel of the template. So the first thing I notice is this check background here, and it's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to show you for this particular template, it does allow a background image, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways throughout the webinar that you can change the images in your template or in your campaign. So let's start with this background image because it does have one. If we take a look, we want to kind of mimic the look and feel of the website. And in this case, this is what the Black Swan website looks like. So you see there's a wood element here, and then there's a very, very dark brown that almost looks black, and then this kind of orangey red color. So we're going to borrow these colors and images for this campaign so that it looks very much like our branding elsewhere, our website, both on and offline. So click on the little image block here, and you'll see it'll pull up the image that it's currently using. So we don't want to use that image. We want to use the wood background. So what we're going to do in this case is actually upload the file. If you can access an image from your website, then you can actually pull it from there, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But we're going to browse our computer, go to the area where the image files are stored that we're going to be using. We're going to choose the BG Wood image and open it. We have an opportunity with every image that we upload to add in a description, and I always recommend using this because there's a couple things that go on here. One is that some of your readers may not see images by default. If they're using a particular email client or program that doesn't allow them to download images by default, then you want to put an image description in just so they know what image should be there, and then they can choose whether they want to download images or not. So this is actually just a wood background, and that's all we need to say about this because it's not a terribly critical image here. But once we're done, then we upload the image to our library, and when it's done uploading, we click Done, and you'll see it's added to our library here. So we hover over the image and click Insert, and there you have the wood background image. Simple enough. So obviously the next thing that we want to do is customize the logo. So there's a couple different ways that we can do this, but I will show you now. If we go back to the website, we see the logo is here. We can actually hover over that image and right-click and select Copy Image Address. That's actually going to copy the URL where the image resides on the server. Now, I only recommend doing this if you have control over the images in the server that you're pulling the images from, so i.e. that it's your own website. If it's anybody else's website and you're creating a template or an email using images from that site, if they change those images, take them down, take the website down, whatever the case might be, then you lose that image from your template and you have no control over it. So always make sure, one, that you have full control over the server and you know that image is always going to be there, but two, that you have rights to use the images that you're using. You don't want to run into any copyright infringement. So this is our site or my client's site, presumably, so I have rights to use this image. So like I said, copy image address, and then all we're going to do is go back over here, and we hover over this little gearbox, and we're going to select Change to change the logo image. And then we're actually going to go to this tab here, Image URL, and insert the image URL that we just copied from the website right here. And then preview it. It'll pull up that image, and now we have the opportunity to link it to our website. You should always link your images somewhere that's relevant, and if nowhere else makes sense, definitely link them back to your website. So if somebody clicks on that image, it takes them to your website. And we, again, also want to use an image description. So in this case, it's Black Swan Brewing's logo. Now we can choose alignment as well. In this case, again, it's a center aligned. Just a note here about mobile design. You want to align a logo image in your banner either to the left or at maximum to the center of the banner at the top. You do not want to right align a logo, because if your email is going to bleed off somebody's screen, it's going to bleed on the right and to the bottom. So your logo might get cut off if you right align it. So just a little tip there for mobile design. And we can also use the slider down below to maintain the proportions of the logo and resize it. I'm actually going to go up to the dimensions area here because I want it to be exactly 175 square. And it will maintain those dimensions. If for some reason you want to scale only one, the width or the height, you can actually click this little padlock here and unlock the dimensions, and then as you see, you can scale one dimension only. Of course, we want to make sure that this is proportional, so we're going to set that back and insert our logo. Now it's not actually showing the logo here, but if we use the preview pane, and then I'm not sure why, to be honest, they just did an update on Constant Contact, so it could have to do with that. But if we go to the preview pane, we will see that the logo is in fact there, so we're good to keep progressing down and keep building our campaign. The next thing we notice here, or the next thing that I notice, is that the color scheme doesn't quite match what we're after for the Black Swan template. So there's a great technique that you can use for changing the colors and making them match your website. Of course, if you're technical and have some web design background or some coding background, then this isn't a problem for you. You'll see if you click on the outer background color block here that you'll come up with a number of colors, and of course if you click on any of these color swatches, the same thing will happen. So we're going to change the color of the border, and again, all of these options come up, but of course none of them are quite what I need for to match my Black Swan branding. So let's go to more colors, and you'll see there's a color picker here that allows me to pick anything. Now I could probably get fairly close on my own without actually knowing a specific color code. But there's a great tool that you can use, and there's a number of them that you can use in order to match the colors exactly if you don't happen to know the hex code values. And the one that I use is called ColorZilla. It's a Chrome extension, so you'll see the little eyedropper tool up here right on my bar in my Google Chrome browser. There's another popular one called ColorCop that a lot use, but I actually really like ColorZilla. So if you click on this color picker, I'm going to use this tool. You'll see the crosshairs here allow me to hover over any part of the website, and you'll see up in the top corner, or the top of the screen here, it's showing me the color of whatever I'm hovering over. And I want to borrow that nice kind of orangey red color. So once I see it appear up there, I just click, and it will copy that color hex value to my clipboard for me. So I can go back over here. I can get rid of this hex value that's currently showing, and I can paste in the new hex value. It's going to show me the current color that's being used as well as a new color based on the hex value I've just inserted. So I can click Done, and I'll see now that my border has changed to that color. Again, if we preview, take a look how that looks. Now we see that the border matches the logo that I've inserted. So carrying on, then what we can do is carry that color scheme through the rest of the email campaign. I do want to borrow one more color from the website here, and it's the background color that we find here. So I'm just going to use the color tool again and pick this color. Once I see it up top, I click on it, it's copied, and I actually want to change the color of this accent divider. Sorry, I'm going to change the color of the button background to this color. So again, we go to More Colors, highlight the hex value, insert the new hex value. You'll see the new color here, and click Done. And there you go. And actually, the divider color, I'm going to make that same orange color. Now you'll see that I've used these colors recently, so they actually show up. I don't have to keep copying the hex code. I can just pull from a host of recent colors listed here. So I'm going to choose that orangey red color. And then carry on. The next thing here is a main banner image. And of course, that's a great image for a restaurant, but not so great for my brewery. So we're going to change that image as well. And this time what we're going to do is upload a file and add it to our library. And I'm going to select the beer image here. And again, insert a description. And upload. Okay, when it's done, it will show the new image here. Again, we want to make it a clickable link. So this time what we might like to do is try the Our Beer page. That makes sense. Grab that URL of that page that's relevant, and then paste it in there. The image description we've already set. The alignment we will set for center, and we want to kind of maximize the size of that image, the width. Max width here is 584. Generally, an email campaign is going to be 600 pixels wide, so everything fits within that overall width. Okay, and you'll see the new image here. Looks good. Save it, and we close. Now, this is the title here. Actually, before I get started here, I want to show you that you can change the font faces that you use in your email campaigns. So another note about mobile design or design for mobile, and even just design for digital or online viewing at all. Sans serif fonts are the ones that don't have the little tails. They're a cleaner looking font. So Arial, Tahoma, Verdana, those are all sans serif fonts. They don't have the little tails on the ends of the letters. Those are your best bets for using in your campaigns to make sure they're highly legible. So I like just the standard Arial font, and I'd actually like to change all of my fonts for the different areas here to Arial. And you can easily do so by just using the drop-down arrows here. Now for the headings, so you hover over this and you see its headline. So we're going to go to the headline text here. And this one, because it's a bit bigger, we have the opportunity to maybe use what might be a less legible font, a more scripty font. I'm going to choose Georgia, and it's italicized, which is okay with me. It kind of gives a nice complement to the Arial font that we use in our standard body, our paragraphs. You can also recolor your fonts. So the headline text I'd like to be that kind of black-brown color that I chose before for the button. And actually, because that's such a dark color, I can choose that color for all of my fonts all the way through and maybe just make my links that orange color. You see the links are red right now. I can switch them to orange. So really what I'm doing is making this whole design look quite cohesive. And as you see, this doesn't take a tremendous amount of design experience or savvy. All these options are available to you and easy to use. So now that we've got the color scheme close to where we want it, we'll carry on here. And very quickly, I'll show you how to edit text. So you hover over the block that you want to edit, and from here you can either copy or paste into the body. If you are copying from a Word document, for example, what you'll want to do is make sure that you click on the Options tab here and select Paste Without Styles. Otherwise, what's going to happen is if you paste something in from either a website or a Word document, it's going to bring in the styles from that Word document, for example, into your campaign. So it'll change the font face, the size, it could italicize, you don't know. So to have control over it and make sure it's formatted the way you like, then always choose Paste Without Styles. If you have come in and you've pasted something from, say, we're going to paste this content in here, and we haven't cleared the styles, then you can paste it in here, highlight it, and click on Clear Styles. And you can either do the entire block, or you can select certain text by highlighting it and just clear the styling of the selected text. And that will erase any foreign styles that have been brought in, and it will take it back to the original styles that you had set in the sidebar here. Now, another word about mobile design, you want to make sure that in the main part of your campaign that your headline text is a minimum of 20 to 22 point font. That seems quite big when you're viewing from a desktop, but think about viewing on a smartphone. You want to make sure that it's highly legible. And then for the text for your body, you want to make sure it's a minimum of 12 points. So you can switch the text of everything to 12 point at a minimum. And again, by doing it over here, you have control over the entire template and not just the individual blocks. So there's a bunch of stuff in here. I'm just going to change. Let's say they've added a beer. We'll format that. And then, of course, we would insert text here accordingly. Of course, you can always just simply type right in the editor. Easy peasy. And then this button option here is actually just a table. So if we want to change the font here, all we have to do is highlight this font. And then if you want to link that to the website, to the appropriate page, again, probably to our beer in this case. And we hit the link button. And then we can style the link here. If it's not showing up in this area the way that we want it to look, we can add an underline. Generally, in a button, you don't need to add an underline. People know that it's a link. You can bold or have a regular, normal weight font. You can italicize it if you like. So just make, and you can recolor it here if you like as well. But I like the way it's showing up with the white bold font. So I'm going to insert it here. And we've created a button to link to our website. So there's a lot of stuff here. I want to keep this short and sweet. There's a lot of items in here that I want to get rid of. So we can very simply delete these blocks by hovering over them and then selecting the little X in the top right corner. So we'll see at the bottom here that we've got a footer, an About Us area, where we can add our name, company, etc. So if we click in that area, we can very quickly create a footer, somewhat like maybe what's on our website. Whoops. We can add our phone in here. Fax, for those of you still using one, we'll get rid of that. And then an email and website. Now a note about adding an email address in here. You can either type it in or copy it straight from the website, whatever you like. But you have the option when you click on Insert Link to choose what kind of link you're inserting. And it's one of three options. So in this case, we are going to be using an email address. The code is a little different in the back, so in order to ensure that the right code gets added and an email gets generated when somebody clicks on that link, you want to make sure you select email. You can also do a web address, in which case you would want to insert that website address here as shown before. You can also do an anchor, which allows you to jump down to different parts of your newsletter. So as I said, we're going to do email address and then insert. I actually didn't want it to show up bold, so let's just go back in here and reformat that and get rid of the bolding. There we go. And then we would do the same with the website as well. Now, if you want your website to actually show up here, your email address to actually show up here, then you can very easily insert your email address and link that as well. Once we're done, we hit save. And then the last feature down here at the bottom that I want to show you is the social media bar. So if you click in this, it acts like any other box to this point, but then you can choose to insert different social media networks depending on what networks you're on. So all we do is go over to our social tab over here in the left-hand menu, and you'll see all of these options available to you, everything from Facebook to Pinterest to YouTube to Instagram. So we have a Facebook page, and we want to make sure that it's linked appropriately. So we're going to go to the Black Swan Brewing site or Facebook page and copy that URL. We're going to change it here. So we'll update this link, and then we can choose which Facebook icon and what size we want to insert. We're going with this kind of middle-sized square icon here. So insert, And there it is, and it's updated. And of course, you can do the same with all of these other icons. And once you've finished with that, save it. And the very last thing you want to do before previewing and testing your email, which is critical, is to go to your header options. I always leave this until the end because I want to make sure that I have the campaign together before I decide on my subject line. It's kind of putting the star on top of the tree kind of thing. Click on header options and you'll see this little pop-up box here. So you want to create a compelling subject line. You don't want to be using the same subject line repetitively every time you send out a new campaign. Something compelling. And it can be short and sweet. 5 to 7 words is probably ideal. Longer than that, then you're really not having much impact with any words beyond 7. But you want to aptly describe what's in your email campaign. And keep in mind your CAN-SPAM and CASL regulations. Those are anti-spam laws for Canada and the U.S., making sure that you're not misleading people when you create your subject line. So make sure that it's relevant to what your campaign is actually about. That sounds like a no-brainer, but stranger things have happened. You can also here create a pre-header text, which is going to give a little more information about your campaign. So here we're just creating a little more interest, piquing people's interest, and the purpose of the subject line is solely to get them to open your email. The other critical piece for determining whether or not your email gets opened is the from name. Now again, this could sound very straightforward, but you've got a couple options here. Depending on the nature of your business and how you do business, you're either going to use your personal name or you're going to use your business name. So think about how you're known online. Think about your IDs for your various other social media profiles. How are you known online? Is it with your personal name or your business name? So in this case, everybody knows the Black Swan Brewing name, so we're going to use that. Now, this here allows you to use the same from email address, and you can select a different email address here. If you need to verify additional addresses, so if I want to use the Black Swan address to send, which in this case I would, then what I would do is enter the address here and click Verify. That's going to generate an email that goes to that email address that they can then click on the link just to verify that you have approval to use their email address in your campaign. Many times, of course, you're designing for yourself, so you'll go to your own inbox, check for that verification email, and just simply click the link, and then your email will be added here. You can use the from email address as the reply to, so if somebody hits reply, it's going to come back to you. You also have the option to uncheck this and use a different reply to address. One example that I like to give is that if you are putting together an event and you're the marketing department, for example, or you're a business that's promoting an event on behalf of another business or another organization, then you can actually uncheck that box and enter a different reply to address so that when people reply to inquire about the event or to register, then their replies will go to the address of the person who's actually coordinating the event. So that's one example. There's a number of different examples that I could use, but there you have it. So in this case, we're using the same reply to email address. The permission reminder you want to use at least for the first few campaigns that you send, because it's reminding people why they signed, or that they signed up for your email and why they're receiving your email. And this is to be compliant with CASL, Canada's anti-spam legislation, as well as CAN-SPAM in the U.S. And yes, you always want to check to make a web page version available in case somebody can't see your email campaign properly or completely in their inbox. They can click on this link. It'll take them to a web page version in a web browser so that they can see your campaign in all its glory, the way that it was intended to be seen. And you can play, you can have fun, with this message here, and it'll say whatever you want, but it will link to a web version. The final option here, which is very important, is the social share links. So if I enable those, what you'll see, oh, I'm going to change back just to a default email address here so that I can save this. So if I save this now, what you'll see is that not seeing it, click here. This is the permission reminder in your header options, and a key is that you let them know that they can unsubscribe at any time. If you're using a standard email client, you actually can very quickly begin being non-compliant with anti-spam legislation, because you need to provide a quick and easy way for people to unsubscribe from your email campaigns if they wish to. So this is hands-off for you. They click the unsubscribe button, and they're off your list, and it's hands-free. You don't have to manage anything, and it takes care of it right away. According to CASL legislation, which I believe is a little more strict right now than the CAN-SPAM legislation, you need to have somebody removed from your list up to 10 business days, within 10 business days of when they request to unsubscribe. So you'll also see here that the social share links are here, and what that allows people to do is share your email campaign with their networks. So I always recommend putting in, in the footer down here, adding a little block, which I'll show you how to do here. You can choose a little block here. And just to ask people to share your email like that. And we've repurposed this block nicely. And then they'll go back up to the top, ideally, and use your social share links. So once we've got our whole email formatted, we can save it. We can do a number of things up here. If you're concerned about whether or not this is going to be perceived as spam by the email service providers or email clients that your readers are using, then you can click the spam check button. That's going to scan your email and let you know if there's any issues with your email where you might want to address, and it will actually provide you, if there are issues, it will provide you with suggestions for improving your campaign, either the image to text ratio or the text itself, some of the wording. It will provide suggestions for you, but this looks like it's a low-risk email, so good to send. So next, we'll preview this just to see how it looks. Now we can also preview a text version if we want to send a text-only version to somebody, and it will break out just all of the text that's in our email. We can also see what our email is going to look like without images. So this is where it's critical. You're viewing, see the background color here isn't how I would like it to look. I left it that red. So this gives me that opportunity to go back to colors and fonts and choose a different outer background color. So I'm going to borrow a slightly different color here, this color down at the bottom for my outer background. I'll choose the eyedropper tool, copy this color to my clipboard, and come back over here and paste it in. You see the new color there. So of course, in our actual template, we're not going to see that color. But like I said, we'll save it and preview it again. We'll take a look at how this is going to look without images. So you'll see the logo image is gone, the banner images are gone, and the outer background color, the outer background image is gone as well. This gives you an idea of how it looks when somebody doesn't see images so that you can maybe adjust your email design. Maybe you make your logo smaller to pull everything up. Maybe you get rid of this banner image because they're not seeing a whole lot of your email text without scrolling. But you also see the image descriptions here. So this is the Black Swan Brewing Company beer. And if they click on it, it will still link to their website as intended. So it's still doing its job. You don't want them just seeing a little red X in the top corner. You do want them seeing an image description. So this says logo, and all of your images will be linked accordingly. Okay? But once you're happy with it, you want to send a test to yourself. So again, you'd want to put in the right email address there. You can add a personal note. If you're putting together an email for somebody else, you might want to put a personal note in here saying this is just a draft of the email campaign. Please take a look and let me know your thoughts, that kind of thing. And then send test. You'll get a success message there, and then you can go to your inbox and take a look at it. Now, if you have the opportunity, I would recommend testing it across a few different email clients. So Outlook, Gmail, Hotmail, maybe a different web client that you might use. Everyone is going to render slightly differently, and you just want to make sure that your email is rendering or showing up in the inbox the way that you intended it to. Once you're happy with everything, we're going to click on the Continue button, and we're going to finish putting together our campaign and getting it ready to send. So here's where we'll select who we're sending our campaign to. There's our subject line and our pre-header text, our from name, and our from email address and reply to as we previously configured in the header options. If we want to change that at this point, of course we can, but those are already done for us because we did those on the previous page. So let's take a look at how to add an email list. I have some lists here, but I'm going to upload a new list. You can also add contacts here, individual contacts if you want. Just add their email addresses, name that set of contacts, and save it. What I want to do right now is go over to the contacts area. And I'm going to add a list of contacts by uploading a file. This is by far the most popular way to add contacts, but please do note that you can type in one contact, you can type in or paste a number of contacts, can also adjust sign-up tools, which we'll take a look at in a moment. We're going to choose a file. And it should be an Excel spreadsheet. So once we find that proper file, we can upload it. Now, a note about how to configure your file for proper upload. All you need is an Excel spreadsheet with first name, last name, and email address. And you just want those in the first row of cells there as the headers, as the topics. And Excel will pull your sheet in accordingly. And you see here, you might notice, you might recognize some of these people, but it's pulled in first name, last name, and email address. If it does, in fact, get one of the columns wrong, you can actually select this drop-down and say, no, this is actually the company name. But in this case, they got it right because my columns corresponded with theirs. Also, please note there's a lot of integration tools, so you can integrate directly with Outlook or Salesforce or what have you. Go to marketplace.constantcontact.com and you can see all of the different integrations available there so that you can pull contacts directly from your current database. Okay, and this all looks good. So we're going to click Next. And then, according to current anti-spam laws, you want to make sure that you have express permission from each person on your list. So they know they're being added to your list if they haven't done so themselves. If you're adding them, make sure that you have express permission. Implied permission is, you know, if somebody's given you a business card or you know, if you've seen somebody's email address published on a website or somewhere else online or offline, that's implied permission. Their address is published, but they haven't given you express permission to use their email, and that is not certainly not what you want to be doing in order to build a relationship of trust with your readers. So make sure that you have express permission, and then indicate here that you have express permission, and then select what list you want to add them to. So I'm going to create a new list here quickly and call it Beer Lovers. And once I'm happy with that, then I can upload, import complete. 16 contacts were updated. And you'll see my full list of contacts here by default. Now what we can do, now that we've updated our contact list, let's go back to the campaign that we created. We're going to select it. It's still in draft mode. We haven't scheduled it to send yet. And then we can actually select the list that we want to and schedule our email. So again, hit the plus sign here, select the appropriate list, in this case, Beer Lovers. And then you'll see that list added up here. And you can select as many lists as you like to send to. And keep in mind, if you've got a person on multiple lists and you select 2 or more of those lists to send to, it will not send, Constant Contact will not send that person an email multiple times. It vets the lists overall and only sends to each address once, regardless of how many lists they're on. Nice feature for sure. So another feature down here is called Simple Share. I highly recommend using this. It helps you reach well beyond your mailing list by posting your campaigns automatically to your various social networks rather than having to manually do it after the email is sent. So click on Simple Share. I've got my various networks in here, so Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I can customize my messages for each of these simply by clicking in this area. New beer is here. I can customize this message here. Be sure to hit done for the individual messages. And then once you're finished, click Save and Close. Just a quick note, if you want to add any additional accounts, click here and select Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and then log into the account you want to add, or select, if it's Facebook, select the appropriate page that you want to add. And then when you're finished, everything, save and close. So now you'll see there's 3 pending messages under social sharing. So as soon as my email is sent, then it's going, Constant Contact will automatically publish this to my networks for me. Now over on the right-hand side here, you have 3 different options. You can send right away, which some of you will prefer. There's a really handy feature that allows you to schedule it to send later, so you don't have to be in front of the computer exactly when you want to send an email. You can, whenever you might have some spare time. We've all got lots of that, right? You can put together your campaign, get it completely ready to go, completely configured, including simple share, and then schedule it for later. When you click this option, it's going to give you a date picker as well as the ability to select the time you want to send. So little calendar drop down here. You can select the appropriate date. We're going to send this on December 24th. Why not? And then select the time as well, very simply. Hours, minutes, and AM, PM. You can also ask for Constant Contact to send you early results, which is usually about 48 hours after your campaign is sent. So they're going to send you some early statistics, letting you know how many people have opened, how many have clicked on links, how many have shared, etc. And usually what I use this for is just a reminder for myself to actually log into my dashboard and take a closer look at the results of my campaigns. You can decide what email address you want to send to. And then you're done. Once you determine the time, you can schedule it. You can also select best time. This is Constant Contact, looking at all of your previous send history and what campaigns performed best based on when they were sent, and then it will suggest a best time for you. But that said, keep in mind there is no one best time. You have to determine what's working best for you and set your send times accordingly. I would suggest to you that 6:18 on a Monday morning isn't going to work best for everybody. So kind of take a look at your own reporting, and that's one of the beauties of reporting, is that it allows you to improve your campaigns going forward and determine a best send time for yourself and for your business. Once we're done, we can hit schedule. Of course, if we're not done and we want to revisit this, save it as a draft and come back to it. But we're going to schedule this email to send. And we'll get a success message that it's ready to go. There's a number of actions we can take here. We can unschedule it if we want to make changes to it. We can download a version. We can copy it to make a new campaign that looks and feels the same, and then we just swap out the content. Or we can print it. We can actually print off this campaign. But for now, I'm done. So this is going to take me back to the dashboard, back to where it all started. Now I do want to show you a couple other things. Your image library is here. And this will allow you to have a good overview of all the images that you've uploaded. Also make note that there are free stock images available through Constant Contact from a company called Big Stock. They also have a number of, a whole library of paid stock images. This helps you address that the copyrighted image issue. If you're looking for kind of stock photography and you don't have access to any yourself, feel free to come into the library and browse the image gallery, and you can determine what kind of images you want to look for. So if you type in free, it's only going to show you free images, and you'll see over here on the right-hand side you have the option to toggle between pro images and free images. And you can look for anything. So in this case, of course, we might like to look for beer. And a whole host of great images come up. Now these are paid images, some of these, but just know that they're there. So here is your image library with all the images that you've uploaded so far. Actually, in this case, it's the images I've uploaded, but you know what I'm getting at. And you can also look at them in a grid view if you prefer, just to scroll through them. You've got 2 gigabytes of storage with an Email Plus account, and it'll show you how much of your storage you're using. I'm only at 2 megabytes so far, so lots of room left. You can also upload documents here, so keep that in mind as well. If you want to upload a PDF so that you can link to it, you can easily upload a document from your computer, find a PDF, upload it, and then you'll be able to link to that document from your body if there's something, a document that you want people to be able to open while they're reading your email. And then the final thing I want to look at is reporting. Now, because this is my demo account, I don't have much in the way of statistics here. So I'm actually going to log out and log into my personal account just so we can take a look at what reporting actually looks like. So bear with me for a moment. You'll see when we log in that my account's configured just a little bit differently than the one we were currently looking at. This is actually called the first generation editor. I've had my account for a long time, but I love it just the same. So let's take a look at our campaigns. We'll look at our email campaigns, and look at any one campaign and you'll get some basic email stats. At the top, how many opened, how many sent, how many clicked, any bounces, or spam reports. You want to stay away from the spam reports. Bounces are great. This feature is great because it will show you not just which email addresses bounced, but it might give you an idea as to why. This one is suspended, so that means that they tried sending multiple times and could not get through. If we go back to the reporting area here and just take a look at the overview, this is important stuff, as I said before. It gives you an overview of the performance of each of your reports, specifically opens, the green line here, and clicks. When you configure your account, you can also choose the industry that you're in, and so these dotted lines here will indicate the averages, or the overall averages for the industries, for your specific industry that you've chosen. So that's the blue line is the open rate, the red line is the click rate, and then you'll see where your emails, how your emails perform compared to those industry averages. But what I would suggest is don't worry so much about what anybody else is doing. Just look at optimizing your own results. If you come down, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a list of all of your previous campaigns. It'll give you an overview of the performance of each one. You can actually click on them to see the emails they were sent to. You can click on all of the numbers here that are linked, and it will show you the email addresses of the people who have opened your email, who have clicked, who have shared your email. It also shows you a newer feature is to show you how many of the people that are viewing your email did so from a desktop device rather than a mobile device. So good information there as well. You will typically find, increasingly so, that your mobile viewing will be higher than your desktop viewing. My results are a bit of an anomaly just because of who my audience is and when they're reading my emails, but generally speaking, mobile viewing and mobile consumption of your content is going to be higher. So that's a nice little walkthrough of the Constant Contact product. If you're interested in getting started with Constant Contact and you haven't yet done so, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. You can learn more about upcoming webinars by joining my mailing list at emotivate.tips. You can select from live seminars if you're in Southwestern Ontario, and or webinars, which obviously are accessible by everyone. If you'd like to check out a trial, try a 60-day free trial by going to emotivatemarketing.constantcontact.com and signing yourself up. And if you need any help, please feel free to reach out to me at lori@emotivatemarketing.com. And you can look for additional resources from Constant Contact on their blog at blogs.constantcontact.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure. I hope that you've learned some new stuff about Constant Contact if you're already a user, and if you're not, hopefully we'll see you around the way soon. Please, again, feel free to reach out anytime or connect with me on my social networks. Have a great day, everybody.